John here. I am here with another great guest, and it is getting close to baseball time. Introduce yourself.
My name is Paul Schoen.
Paul, you are a political operative. You've done a lot of stuff all over the state, different types of races, from congressional, Senate, presidential. You've done a lot. Give everyone some background on what you've done.
What have I done?
Yeah.
Well, let's see now. I've done a lot of statewide races in Massachusetts and around the country. And Senate races, and the occasional governor.
Now, you're one of those guys they drop into places for exciting races that we have a chance of taking.
Yes.
So, how did you get started?
Not that way. I got started, I grew up in Boston, and a lot of people were doing this kind of stuff then, and still are, and kids. And as a kid, meaning 7, 8 years old,
Right.
I would volunteer for campaigns. I was very interested in it. My father was interested in it as a kind of a volunteer, and I would just go into a campaign and maybe go get nomination papers, that kind of stuff. And
Everything
start
from
working, and then every
get
year,
coffee.
I got a little, yeah, sure, all of that stuff. That kind of work. But go and do it too at 7.
Yeah.
And I actually was speaking on a sound truck when I was 8.
Oh, wow. So if you're not
At
familiar
train stations.
if you're not familiar with the sound truck, in city environments, not so much rural environments, people rent vans and trucks, and they put these giant PA systems on them, and they drive around reminding people, and sometimes introducing the candidate.
Introducing the candidate in this case.
Yeah, to vote. And what you do is basically you have one guy driving, one guy on the PA system, and then did you have pre-recorded speeches from the candidate, or
No, I had a script.
So now, just to give you an idea, we actually did that in Brockton this year for the 2016 election to remind. It's a huge thing. So you're on the truck. That must have been fun.
It was fun. It was fun as a kind of
You're in it,
politics,
yeah.
You know. So it was good, and over the years. When I was in high school, it was a time when there was a lot, kind of like this time, when there was a lot of stuff going on in the country.
Right.
I graduated in 1968 from high school.
So you were right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was right in the middle of it, and involved in kind of a small way, but with the candidates that were running against Lyndon Johnson at that time, and with a lot of my high school classmates. And then after that, I went to college locally at Suffolk, and I just started. I started where I worked at the State House, and I met the Moakley crowd.
Okay,
and,
the Moakley machine.
Yeah, so I started working with Moakley in '72, and
Amazing guy.
great. Yeah, I can't say enough about him. I was very close to him, and he was a great guy.
My family's from South JP, so we knew the Moakleys.
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
And when I got out of college, I was traveling the country. I run into him at the airport. He's flying coach.
Yeah.
Just talking.
Probably knew your name.
Yeah, he's like, hi, John, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, good. And then he's chatting the girl up next to him, just talking to the guy next to him.
Great guy. At 15, he joined the Navy and fought all those islands in the Pacific. 15 years old.
15 years old.
With a bunch of Southie guys.
There's a reason that his name is on everything in Southie. He really worked hard for the district.
He did work hard, and he was very much into what else was going on in South Boston. He was very involved in the busing thing, and with the local. What would you call them?
Color.
Numerologists. And that kind of thing. He was very involved with keeping them at a certain low level. And whenever anything crazy happened, he would go and talk to them.
Yeah, it's interesting how he's an incredible guy.
Yeah.
And like you said, he knew everyone's name, which is really fascinating.
Yeah.
So you work on that campaign. Is that after that, do you then go national, or are you?
I actually, yes, but there were a bunch of. Well, there was only one real campaign.
Right.
from Oakley, and I worked in that, and then I raised money for him for 3 years after that.
Okay.
And in 1975, I got involved with the mayor's race in Boston, which was another one of those Civil War type, brother against brother things.
Legendary.
Yes, and I was working for Timilty. Although later in life, I got to know Kevin White very, very well, and enjoyed them both, I guess. But at the time, it was a very difficult election, and a lot of one of the things that you do in a campaign is go door to door with flyers, and we did that. We did that 11 times between the primary and the general election. So
to get
so it was a very, very it seems like everybody in the city was involved in it.
Right.
And things were very, very different then. So I did get involved in that, and after that, he lost. Timilty lost. My candidate, Joe Timilty, lost. And after the election, I for just kind of a happenstance thing, I got invited to a little coffee type thing for Jimmy Carter.
Okay.
And basically it was all the political consultants in Boston that were invited. And I went to work for him, right then.
Now that was an
in
amazing race.
That was in 1975.
So I mean,
and that's when I first started going.
Right. That was a crazy, incredible race, right? All the way through to convention.
It was. It didn't really. In '76, we had won it probably in June or May or June, and the last three races, which in those days, the last three elections in those days were always California, New Jersey, and Ohio.
The big numbers.
Yeah, and I was the field person doing the field in Ohio, and it was pretty much over at that point.
And then convention was a little contentious.
Convention in '76 it wasn't. '80 was.
80 was really bad.
Contentious. Yeah. But in 1976 it wasn't. It was unusual because because it was just a whole new crew of people.
Right.
I have the feeling that it's kind of going to be like that this time too.
Right.
Where
Changing
generations have changed, kind of. Yeah. So there's nobody my age who's probably doing it at the level. Had a race, then what happened? I don't know. Let's see. Oh, Paul Tsongas.
Which another incredible. I mean, you have worked with some incredible candidates.
I really like the people that I work with in 90% of the cases. In the Tsongas race it was just one of those things. Same with Carter, same with Timilty. I just liked them.
Right.
The Carter thing. I read an article in Time magazine and said this is in '75, like the first article on the '76 race. For Tsongas, I just thought, oh, geez, who's this guy?
Right.
What's this all about? And I thought that he would. I really thought from the first day that he had a really good chance at winning, and that's what happened. I ran his field in the '78 race, and then I was political director when he ran for the president in 1992.
And then another candidate that became an incredible politician that just basically changed the way Lowell and that whole region is.
Yeah.
And just incredibly smart, incredibly charming, but not what you would probably classify as a modern candidate because he always looked a little disheveled.
Yeah, and he was his humor. He was one of these guys that belied that saying, nobody likes a wise guy, because he was really a wise guy, and everybody liked him.
Right.
And he just had a smoothness moving through things, and he did some important stuff while he was in the Senate, the Chrysler deal and the Alaskan wild lands
preservation
of millions and millions of acres up there. So yeah.
And then we finished Tsongas, and then what do you do in the you're heading into the 80s? Okay, sorry guys, had a little technical problem. Paul, you were right in the middle of telling us you're finishing up the Tsongas race. What's next?
Jimmy Carter running for re-election. Senator Ted Kennedy, who I had worked with the Tsongas a lot, was running against him. I had been with Carter, stayed with Carter, and went up to New Hampshire, and a fellow named Peter Goltz ran Manchester, and I ran Nashua. and this was in the days of Ronald Reagan.
Well, this is when we first
This
get.
is Mr. Green. I pay for that microphone, Mr. Green.
Yeah.
And it was a pretty exciting race, and Carter, sort of unexpectedly but unbelievably, won it
Right.
by a sizable margin, and then just went off to other states with the Carter campaign
Now,
for the rest of the year. And
We're